blah, blah, blah. I'm in the bathroom right now prepping my walls to be tiled. So everywhere where water can possibly hit, where I'm tiling over, I have cement board, DUROCK, half-inch DUROCK, and what I've done here is I've used this fiberglass like mesh tape to bridge any gaps in between the pieces of DUROCK. Now this one isn't staying too well, but it doesn't matter because I'm about to thinset over that. Thinset is this right here. It's a mud that you mix with water. It's a powder, I think it's like a cement product, something like that. Mix it with water, it becomes a paste, and you just knife it on, and you smooth it out to fill all of those gaps in between. So I'm doing this, a couple mistakes were made in this when we were putting this up. We didn't put a water barrier. We didn't put any asphalt felt behind the DUROCK, which you're supposed to do, stapled right to the framing to prevent moisture from getting back into the frame wall. So after I do this, I'm going to put on what's called a Redguard. It's a roll-on. It's a total water barrier, and I'll show you that in a minute. But for now, I'm just putting this thinset over these gaps to make it one nice, smooth, continuous surface that I can roll that water barrier over. And this is the finished thinset. Tomorrow I can put that Redguard on for the water barrier. So we're in progress doing our travertine 6x6 tiles on the shower bath wall right now. Just to recap, what we had to do here was put a water barrier on top of the cement board. We forgot to put asphalt felt behind the cement board on the framing. So I couldn't get the cement board off after it was up because we got trim up on the top. And underneath this stuff right here is a piece of stone that was blocking me from getting it off the wall. So this was kind of my only option. So it's just a roll-on product called Redguard. Put 2 coats of it on, and it's like this rubbery water barrier. Because your tile, even sealed tile, grouted and sealed, everything, water can still get back there. And that would cause rot and mold and things like that in your framing. So what I'm doing here, I'm using a product called FlexBond. It's made by the same company as Redguard, by the company Custom, and that you're not supposed to use a mastic adhesive with stone because it can bleed through and actually discolor the stone. You're also not supposed to use a dark mortar because that can have the same effect. So that's what their text says. So what I'm using is FlexBond, which is a high polymer count cement mortar, and the high polymer count makes it stickier, so it holds tile on better, and that's necessary on top of the Redguard. Even with that, I'm seeing a little slumping happening with these tiles, but we were able to remedy that with these spacers. So the first thing you do is mix up the FlexBond mortar. Instructions on the bag, you just use a drill and one of those stirring attachments for the drill. And then in your bucket here, it's got a small, like a margin trowel I'm using, and smearing it on the wall. And this is just to get it on the wall, and then we're gonna go over it and make those grooves afterwards. Now that our mortar is on the wall, we're going to take our square notch trowel. This is 1/4 by 1/4 by 1/4 inch trowel, and that is good for a 6x6 tile. What that does is it leaves a groove, as you can see here, 1/4 inch out and 1/4 inch wide. So it's 1/4 inch out from the wall 1/4 inch wide. And that gives, that just helps the tile adhere to the wall better, makes air pockets so it can all smush and make a good contact to the tile. So we just take our trowel here and just run across it at a 45-degree angle. Okay, there are our grooves. So I just wipe off the excess into my mortar bucket, and then I just throw that into my water bucket, which I have a sponge in, so I can clean it off. And also the sponge is to clean off excess mortar that's on the tile. So next step is you take a tile, take the back side, put a little bit of mortar on the margin trowel. And I like to be very thorough with this, so I take a little extra time, but I like to cover the back of the tile completely, or almost all the way completely, with some mortar. And this is just going to ensure that we have a complete connection, mortar to mortar, tile to mortar, everything. So put it on, just stick it right here, and wiggle it around a little bit. And then I got my spacers. Now we just made some wood spacers out of some scrap wood laying around. Looking for an 1/8 inch gap, 2 little wood spacers. You can buy these, they're plastic, but we're just using these. I'm gonna just wiggle this tile up a little bit and stick them right in. And there's a tile. We just go row by row. We also have to make cuts with a tile saw or a diamond wheel on our angle grinder. Make cuts to get around situations like this. It's pretty straightforward. I'm not going to cover it right now. Also, what you do, as we're going up, we put a level. After we finish a couple rows, we'll put a level on that row and just make sure that we're still level. And I should also mention how we started this. We started this by getting the height of the tile, which is 5 and 15/16. I actually measure the tile. You can't go by what the tiles say they are. You should really measure the tile and get the exact dimensions of it. So 5 and 15/16 plus an 1/8 inch gap, 6 and 1/16. I actually average up to 6 and 1/8 because there's a little bit of space taken up by something there. And I drew a line at 6 and 1/8 up from the top of the tub. And after I got that line, I took my level and leveled it out to the highest point. And when I put my first tiles on, I made sure I was right on that line. And then that leaves an 1/8 inch gap on the bottom. And then when I put my next, so that's our grout line on the bottom, which in this case will be caulk because it's butting up against the tub. And then on the next one, I have my 1/8 inch spacers. So I just put the tile right on top of it, stick the spacers in, and I'm guaranteed that 1/8 inch grout line. And like I said, as we go up, we just keep leveling it to make sure that we stay level. And I visually inspect it too to make sure my tiles look like they're level on each course. And we're just going to continue up all the way to the wall here, and then we're going to do the rest of the space in the same fashion. So, doing grout here. I have a polyblend sanded grout, 1/8 of an inch to 1/2 an inch gap, and I've already mixed it up. I'm using a bucket here so I can't